And I'm going to read something now. I have some pages that are good for my eyes because they've got great big writing. But I have something else I want to read because it has to do with the atmosphere at that time. And one of the things that I wanted to say in this book was that you have to be careful when it comes to your political affiliations, and you have to be careful about how you express the dialogue that goes on between left and right. Because if you're not careful, disagreement turns to dislike, and dislike turns to hate. And one of the things that happens, I think we've seen in the last couple of years, is that the progress of the elected government comes pretty much to a stop. But that's not really the worst of it. The worst of it is that when dislike becomes hate, somebody has a tendency to pick up a gun. And we've seen it in time after time, and case after case. And I wanted to try to express some of those things in the book and, you know, still tell a good story if I could. But one of the things that interested me in the course of the research was how much the atmosphere of Dallas was conducive to those acts of violence. So with that, I had a plan of my own for the years between August of 1960 and April of 1963. I'd keep my eye on Oswald when he came back from Russia, but I wouldn't interfere. Because of the butterfly effect, I couldn't afford to. If there's a stupider metaphor than a chain of events in the English language, I don't know what it is. Chains, other than the ones we all learned to make out of comic paper, I suppose, are strong. We use them to pull engine blocks out of trucks and to bind the arms and legs of dangerous prisoners. That was no longer reality as I understood it. Events are flimsy, I tell you. They are like houses of cards. And by approaching Oswald, let alone trying to warn him off a crime which he had not even yet conceived, I would be giving away my only advantage. The butterfly would spread its wings, and Oswald's course would change. Little changes at first, maybe, but as the Bruce Springsteen song tells us, from small things, baby, big things one day come. They might be good changes, ones that would save the man who is now the junior senator from Massachusetts. But I didn't believe that, because the past is obdurate. In 1962, according to one of Al's scribbled marginal notes, Kennedy was going to be in Houston at Rice University, making a speech about going to the moon. Open auditorium, no bulletproof podium, Al had written. Houston was less than 300 miles from Dallas. What if Oswald decided to shoot the president there? Or suppose Oswald was exactly what he claimed to be, a patsy. What if I scared him out of Dallas and back to New Orleans and Kennedy still died, the victim of some crazy mafia or CIA plot? Would I have the courage to go back and start all over? Better not to have to find out. Better to make sure. On my way to Texas from New Orleans, I decided the best way to monitor Oswald without getting in his way would be to live in Dallas while he was in the sister city of Fort Worth, then relocate to Fort Worth when Oswald moved his family to Dallas. The idea had the virtue of simplicity, but it wouldn't work. I realized that in the weeks after looking at the Texas School Book Depository for the first time, and feeling very strongly that it was, like Nietzsche's abyss, looking back at me. I spent August and September of that presidential election year driving my Sunliner around Dallas, apartment hunting, even after all this time, sorely missing my GPS and cell phone. Nothing seemed right. At first I thought that was about the apartments themselves. Then I began to get a better sense of the city, and I realized it was about me. The simple truth was, I didn't like Dallas, and 8 weeks of hard study was enough to make me believe there was a lot not to like. The Times Herald, which many Dallasites routinely call the Slimes Herald, was a tiresome juggernaut of nickel boosterism. The morning news might wax lyrical, talking about how Dallas and Houston were in a race to the heavens, but the skyscrapers of which the editorial spoke were an island of architectural blobs surrounded by rings of what I came to think of as the Great American Flat Color. The newspapers ignored the slum neighborhoods where the divisions along racial lines were just beginning to melt a little. Further out were endless middle-class housing developments, mostly owned by veterans of World War II and Korea. The vets had wives who spent their days pledging the furniture and maytaging the clothes. Most had 2.5 children. The teenagers mowed the lawns, delivered the Slimes Herald on bicycles, turtle waxed the family car, and listened vertically to Chuck Berry on transistor radio. Maybe telling their anxious parents he was white. Beyond the suburban houses with their whirling lawn sprinklers were those vast flat tracts of empty. Here and there, rolling irrigators still serviced cotton crops, but mostly King Cotton was dead, replaced by endless acres of corn and soybeans. The real Dallas County crops were electronics, textiles, bullshit, and black money petrodollars. There weren't many derricks in the area, but when the wind blew from the west, where the Permian Basin is, the Twin Cities stank of oil and natural gas. The downtown business district was full of Sharpies hustling around in what I came to think of as the full Dallas. Check sport coats, narrow neckwear held down with bloated tie clips. Those clips, the 60s version of bling, usually came with diamonds or plausible substitutes sparkling in their centers. White Sanzabelt pants and gaudy boots with complex stitching. They worked in banks and investment companies. They sold soybean futures and oil leases and real estate to the west of the city, land where nothing would grow except for gypsum and tumbleweed. They clapped each other on the shoulders with beringed hands and called each other son. On their belts, where businessmen in 2011 carried their cell phones, many carried handguns and hand-tooled holsters. There were billboards advocating the impeachment of Supreme Court Chief Justice Earl Warren, billboards showing a snarling Nikita Khrushchev. "Niet, Comrade Khrushchev," the billboard copy read. "We will bury you." And there was one on West Commerce Street that read, "The American Communist Party favors integration. Think about it." That one had been paid for by something called the Tea Party Society. Twice, on businesses where names suggested they were Jewish-owned, I saw swastikas. I didn't like that. No sir, no ma'am, no way. I hadn't liked it from the moment I checked into the Adolphus and saw the restaurant maitre d' cringing the waiter by the arm and shouting in his face. Nevertheless, my business was here, and here I would stay. That was what I thought then. On the 22nd of September 1960, I finally found a place that looked livable. It was on Blackwell Street, north Dallas, a detached garage that had been converted into a pretty nice duplex apartment. Greatest advantage? Air conditioning. Greatest disadvantage? The owner-landlord, Ray Mack Johnson. He was a racist who shared with me that if I took the place, it would be that I took the place, it would be a Margaritaville Avenue, where there were a lot of mixed-race juke joints and coons with the kind of knives he called. I got everything in the world against black folks, he told me. No, sir. No, sir. No law created them for their position, not me. You know that, don't you? I guess I missed that part of the Bible. Why did I have suspicion? What are you, Methodist? Yes, I said. Yes, I said. It's city for laws, denominationally speaking, nothing. You need to get to the Baptist way of churching, son. Maybe some Sunday you can come with me and my wife. Maybe so, I agreed, reminding myself to be in a Mr. Johnson, meanwhile, had returned to his original scripture. You see, Noah got drunk this one time on the ark, and he was laying on his bed, just naked as a kid. Just turned the other way and put a blanket over it. I don't know, it might have been a sheet, but Ham, he was the blackest about them, and God cursed him, Hebrews are wooden jars of water. So they're jars of water. So there it is. That's what's going on. I didn't want to look it up. Look it up, Mr. Anderson. I said, telling myself I had to go somewhere to stay at the adults hotel in Devon. Telling myself I could live with a little racism. That I wouldn't melt. Telling myself it's probably just about the same everywhere. Only, I didn't quite make it so fast. Y'all have a blessed day now, and remember that Jesus loves you. Thank you.